What's up? Welcome back, Twisted Metal Small Brawl. So, I've learned you can play the game on easy mode and still get the ending. Why does that matter? Because in Twisted Metal 2 and 3, that was not the case. You had to play on medium at least in order to get the endings. So, they did not favor those who were not as skilled. It was meant to feel more like a reward. But as it stands, we are playing to show the endings, and that's all that matters right now. Thus, we are using cheat codes, as we always do. And we are going to play as Twister next. This girl isn't the brightest bulb in the pack, but she is one of the best drivers. She loves going fast and enters the contest seeking the ultimate thrill ride. Good for you, girl. Now, hopefully, because it is easy mode, things will die a little bit quicker. As I mentioned in the Hammerhead video, it amazes me how little damage things take. Oh my god. Okay. Maybe to be determined. I've almost killed people. Okay. Oh yeah. I was playing as Hammerhead for a second. Nope. I got my Twister back. Which is a cool special. Are you Spectre? You look like Spectre. I have ran out of ammo. I need to find something. Maybe. So, the reason why you would want to play on medium difficulty plus, even if you even if it's not for the sake of the challenge of it, is because you can only unlock the bonus characters by doing the medium campaign or higher. Beat the game with all medium, you get to play as Trapper, who's the boss of the mini golf course, and to get the piecemeal, you have to beat the game on hard as Trapper. So, at the very least, one character's got to beat it on hard. And Mime is unlocked by doing the endurance mode to the point where you get a Christmas stage, I believe it was. And when you get to the Christmas stage, you bust out a stocking, and it has the Mime in it. Mime has a special that is a copy of the nearby character special, from what I understand. I haven't played as Mime yet, but that's what I've gathered over my time in being interested in this franchise, and I've been interested in this franchise for many a year. I learned about it when I was like 3 or 4, I guess. My dad would play it, and also I saw the dual case PS1 game of it. And Sweet Tooth was scared like a motherfucker on the front of it. How could I not remember? But if you want to talk about a scary animated clown and you don't want to talk about like something like Pennywise or whatever, you want to look towards Brave Little Toaster. That clown is scarier than Sweet Tooth. And if you're curious about what I'm talking about, I recommend watching the whole movie just to get an even greater understanding of how fucking dark that movie is. It's messed up. But naturally, it's one of my favorites growing up. So here's Dark Theme. Fuck, I grew up watching Evangelion and Cool Cool. It should not have happened. But it did. It's always interesting to hear stories of things kids should not have done or seen, and like how it's messed them up as a person. I remember back when I was younger, I was before scary movies, and my mom and my neighbor were watching Freddy vs. Jason. Caught some of that. I'm not. Why? Same with a movie, really cheap movie, it feels like, called Uncle Sam Wants You Dead. It even has Isaac Hayes in it. He's not Uncle Sam. He's just a friend of the Sam character. Or at least he knew him. They were both in the military. Weird movie. The scene with the grill was what I remembered of the movie. And then, as an adult, I was like, all right, you know what? This thing has been in the back of my head for a long time. Time to watch it. Especially because now I'm more akin to horror stuff. For better or worse. I generally try to avoid that kind of stuff. I'm like, you know, I don't want to corrupt my soul. I don't want to see things that are going to alter who I am as a person. So, well, I'm older now. I've been through a lot of stuff. And yeah, it still does do that, I feel, but there's a lot of creative and interesting stories that horror movies do have. And you shouldn't deny yourself great stories just for the sake of fear. For instance, I didn't know much about Silent Hill until a friend of mine, when we were having a sleepover, was like, have y'all seen Silent Hill? I'm like, no idea. And they put it on, and I was disturbed by it to a degree. And many years later, I noticed that one of my favorite YouTube channels, who have no longer, or who have gone separate ways, best friends, they would always post Silent Hill content, a lot of it, all the games, for the most part. And I got curious, so I'm like, all right, maybe it's time to learn more about this. Especially because another of my favorite channels, Jesse Cox, he was playing Silent Hill 2, Scary Game Squad. I'm like, well, if Jesse's playing, I gotta see it. So I started with Silent Hill 1 and learned how cool it was, and then I watched 2 and learned how amazing it is. Probably the best horror game. For a lot of complicated reasons. Much like complicated reasons. 3, 4, yada yada yada. And eventually I went back to the movie, and then the disturbedness of it became, that's not how the movie goes. Why are you changing so much, man? Well, that's always the way of it, isn't it? No video game movie can be truly the way it's portrayed in the game. I don't know why that's the case. I feel like you could make a movie out of a game and it just be straight up the story. I don't subscribe to the you have a franchise and instead of just making that franchise, you make something that's kinda in its universe, kinda adjacent, like a new experience. I don't think that should be how it is. Now, that being said, I understand both sides of it. Because on the director side of things, it's like everyone's already seen the one thing, and that was their product. I need to make it my own because this is my take on the franchise that I love, and I think it'd be interesting, and fans should also feel that way. But then the other side of it is like, and still on that point, it's like if they wanted to see the thing, then they would just look at the thing. It already exists. But I am with the other side of it of like, yeah, but you know, like what I'm doing right now is I'm playing a game that is retro. I'm playing a game that doesn't exist really anymore. Like, when's the last time you heard someone say, hey, I'm playing Twisted Metal Small Brawl. You want to come over and play? You'd be like, what is that? Is that a phone game? No, it's a PS1 game. Like, really? Haven't heard about it? No? Oh. You suck. Well, I guess I do. But, yeah, so there's a lot of things that get made into a movie that are not popular anymore, but people will still want to see something about it. And I just feel like the more you change it, the less of the idea it is. It's like with books. It's like, of course I want it to be a very detailed description of this event or that event, and I want to see it on the screen. You know, like the details in the book. They felt it was important enough to write it down. Why is it not important enough to show it? The answer might be because it's boring. It's like, okay, but is it boring to the people who read the book? Unlikely, but you could get a census going on how people feel about certain elements being included in that. Because, you know, you don't get to see like live action versions of books or video games that often. And when you do, it's usually nothing like how you thought it would be. It almost, if I were to be a conspiracy theorist about it, almost feels like they actively want the people who are fans in the audience to be able to lean over to their buddy and be like, that's not how it goes at all. In fact, this is what happened instead. And, you know, gives you a chance to brag about you read the book or watched the movie or read the comic or played the game, yada, yada, yada. But I know nowadays, the actual conspiracy theory is more closer to make it mid. Make it not too complainable, but also make it not what people want. That way, we have both positive and negative feedback out there in nearly equal amounts. Enough to where people will still go see it, and the publicity will go out. People being like, this movie is trash, don't go watch it, watch something else better. Or, you know, it's like, brave new take on this property that we haven't seen in so long. Like, the Mario movie. I liked it, but it was okay. It could have been better. It was mostly positive. I can't say it wasn't. But I know a lot of people feel like it wasn't like after all the music taste was kind of strange a little bit too. Like especially with a franchise that has so much music in it, using a lot of '80s tunes. Which yeah, it came out in the '80s. It didn't fit. Anyway, point is, we don't get what we want often when it comes to video game fans of a franchise. Now, right now, there is the Twisted Metal show. I haven't seen it. I'm waiting to see it. When season 2 comes out, then I'll get Peacock for a month, try to build up money to afford it, and I'm going to watch it out. Now, that being said, I can already tell it is going to be very different than the Twisted Metal I know. And I think it's safe to say I know Twisted Metal by this point. Especially because I don't know Anthony Mackie's character. I think it's supposed to be Roadkill, but he doesn't remind me of Roadkill. And also, depending on which game you're going off of, that's not Roadkill at all. Like, Roadkill is the other half of YouTube. And so there's that. And Mr. Grimm seems like he's a normal human with a mask on, or a painted skull mask. And not a Grim Reaper proper, but I said I haven't watched. I can't say for sure, but from what I've seen and heard, that's the impression that I get. Take you in the tornado. It does just about as much damage, even getting partially. Yeah. But yeah, so with Silent Hill, they obviously changed a lot of things with the first movie. The second movie, which is supposed to be about the third game, which admittedly is a continuation of the first game, is weirdly done. Like, the problem is Christoph Gaines knows Silent Hill, at least to a degree. Like, he knows the games, but actively makes decisions that aren't the game. Again, I'm with the fans that just say, I want to see the live action version of this game. The scenes. Let me see them. And the best way to do that, no shit, is just watching YouTubers, particularly cosplayers, reenact those scenes. Fan projects. Make the closest reenactment of anything that you want to see. I also feel that same way about casting in a movie. Like, if you're doing a franchise that has a character that you've seen, like in books, you don't see what the character is portrayed as often, but there's usually a description somewhere. Most of the time, they won't look even similar once you get them on screen. And that makes me sad. Like, looks shouldn't be that important, but they kind of are. And I'm not even saying the actor themselves has to naturally look like the character. I'm just saying make them look like the character. If the character is blonde, make the character blonde. Put a wig on, CGI some shit, whatever. Same with if they're muscular, just CGI some shit or put a muscle suit on them. They don't have to, like, go through the terrible diet that most celebrities have to when they want to audition for a role and get the role, especially in a superhero role. Those men are suffering when they are getting ready for their performance. Now they get paid great, yeah, no doubt, but they're not happy. But like on the topic of Silent Hill movies, the second movie makes at least Heather Mason look like what she looks like. And Claudia, she looks like her, and Douglas looks like himself. Those are fine. Everyone else, pretty askew. Especially fucking Vincent. Oh my god. Jon Snow as Vincent. As a teenage heartthrob instead of the, probably 30 to, or 25 to 30-year-old cult leader who's very snarky and manipulative and whatnot. But I also bring it up because the third movie's coming out, which is based on the second game. And at first, I was just excited that they were making a movie about the second game, and I was going to let a lot of people know. But the longer it goes on and the more content they show from it, I almost don't want to watch it, but I'm going to. But I almost don't. Like, I'm sure you guys probably have a franchise out there that you love, or a property that you love, that you would really love to see good on the big screen, and either it won't because it's not popular, or it has gotten adaptation and sucked ass. I haven't seen nor read anything about like Aragon or whatever, but I hear that was shite. And I feel bad because, especially when it's kids or stuff that you read when you're younger, you have such high hopes, and then when it comes out, you're like, I remember I read Can of Worms as a kid, and then I found out there was a movie. I didn't watch the movie, but the style looked like it was very different than how I imagined when I was reading it. Recently, I've been getting into I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Now, they made a video game about it. I don't think they've made any kind of media thing about it besides being the heavy inspiration for the Amazing Digital Circus, which we're going to be recording that in the future later. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. But they made a video game adaptation. Harlan Ellison is the person who wrote it, the book, and he is the not narrator. He is Am, which is the most important character in that franchise. I say franchise like it's a long-spanning thing. It's just that book, and it's just that game. The game came out later, and it's not even him that made the game, but he is playing the pivotal character. So, he gets to be an authority on the game in his own way. But I'd say he had like 20% involvement, because if you read the book and played the game, like, it almost takes place as a sequel, like the first, or like the book was some kind of side event going on. Just another drop in the hat of the 109 years of torment these characters are going through. I'd be interested in seeing a live action remake of that, or not remake, adaptation of that. That'd be pretty cool. But with this, Twisted Metal, if I were to make an adaptation of it, no new characters. Only characters that exist in the franchise. Which I feel should be obvious. Anything. Oh, they tricked me. But I killed Grim, so that worked out. Yep. Tall enough to ride this ride. No, I guess not. Okay. Well, I'm fine with that. But yeah, if there's a franchise that you really want to see adapted and what is essential to it, that if they change, you're like, nah, I'm out. I am interested to hear. I might also know that franchise and feel very similar. Sorry, I'm slurring a little bit also. I have been talking all day. I have been recording for majority of the day. In fact. But yeah. Oh, I got crushed with Hammerhead's ult. Oh yeah, I remember another franchise that I love that the adaptation didn't quite land. It's honestly one I'm not that mad about. I'm not as mad as other people are about it, which is the Warcraft movie. I thought it was fine. Yes, no. There were some problems with it lore-wise, but they love E. Now there's... Damn, I am on a path of self-destruction. I just want a way to show an audience what a thing is without them having to buy the game or the book or whatever. Like, the full encapsulation. As you might be thinking, like, well, I can't sum up this in that amount of time, an hour and a half. The answer is usually yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just don't linger on some things as long as others. I don't think that's too hard. Maybe it doesn't, and that's the other thing. Sometimes that decision gets made because it's not interesting to watch. Pretty fucking interesting to the people who, you know, went to go see the thing they wanted to see. I haven't seen the new Avatar: The Last Airbender show that's on Netflix right now, live action. But I have seen The Last Airbender, and I feel y'all's pain. But I'll tell you this much. While it is not as charming and great as the original TV show, I gotta say, I'm not as mad as everyone else is about it. The problem I fall into with it is, at least the moment that I stopped caring was when the Earthbenders were there defending their village. And it took like 6 to 8 people to lift a rock, not a boulder, a rock, and chuck it. That is where I draw the line. I'm like, have you seen them earthbend in the show? They just stomp once, a huge rock lifts up from the ground or a pillar or something. And then they just do one more punch or kick and then it gets sent flying. Like, how could you fuck that up, man? Like, even the firebenders needing fire to start with before they can firebend, I could forgive. I could forgive it, but not that. I was like, that's where I draw the line. I'm like, come on, man. I hear the One Piece show is doing good. I don't know what they're covering. I didn't watch a lot of One Piece in my youth, but I liked it. I would watch it when it was on. And from what I hear, it's doing just fine. I think it's even a season 2 or season 2 coming out. And if the fans can agree on One Piece of all things, the show that has over 1,000 hours, like not hours, episodes, way more than 1,000 hours of content. Like you can do an adaptation that stays loyal to the subject and still fits in the confines. I know it's a show, so they can space out a little bit more. But I just think some people. Alright, come on, piecemeal. Let's finish this as best we can. You still take a while to kill. I can tell that. Sweet Tooth, leave that alone. That is my napalm. You get your own. Your mom lets you have 2 napalm. Oh, hell yeah. Yes. Piecemeal again. Where are you? There it is. Oh, he took my fire missile. Ah, well. We will overcome. We will adapt. I realize I haven't talked about Amanda Watts too much. If you've been watching all my Twisted Metal stuff by now, you've probably learned about as much as you can about any of these characters. But Amanda Watts has a near twin sister named Miranda Watts, and Amanda is introduced to, I say, as a replacement for Crimson Fury, because they both act as fast cars. But, you know, that might not be an accurate thing to say. But either way, that's the impression I get again. And she has a need for speed. She wants to be fast. She knows that there's a realm you can enter between space and time if you are skilled enough and fast enough to reach it. She wants to be the best driver out there to prove that she can do it. And guess what? Calypso gives her a car, or updates her own car, to the point where she can do that. She goes through space and time to get there. All the way through history until she gets to the prehistoric age and accidentally gets killed by being crushed by a T-Rex path. Her helmet is found and is the debate of many historians of the origin of this, because like fuck, why is there a helmet back in the ancient times? But our things are respawning over there. Didn't seem to have. Oh, I can still grab him in my trap. I'm caught in a trap. I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. Anyway, Miranda Watts and head on. She's like, I know my sister's out there. Bring her back to me. She better be alive. Calypso calls Mr. Grimm to bring her soul out. She comes back as a zombie. Now here's her ending.
Like, I thought that you said that I could go fast. go plenty fast, babe. Yikes! Might wanna tighten that seatbelt, Twister.
Calypso's an asshole. But hey, she's going fast. Can't argue with that one. I like Twister. She's fun. And I like her special. It's very handy, especially if you have like an infinite weapon or infinite ammo cheat going on. And you can just spam it like I did in 2. Just keep people sucked up in your vortex until they eventually die. What's this saying? I can't read it. Confirm, please. Thank you. Gotta keep our saves. Oh, okay. I think I already saved. All right. Well, that has been Amanda Watts in Twisted Metal Small Brawl. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate having y'all here and just having me chat at you and whatnot. Glad we could have this moment together. My name is Captain Zane, and I thank you for watching Twisted Metal. Bye.